Sold at 18 to a silent mountain man, but his twin daughters changed everything. At 18, Clara was forced to marry a mountain man she had never met. Everyone feared him. They said he lived alone in the wilderness and spoke less than 10 words a day. But when Clara arrived at his cabin, it wasn't the giant man who broke her heart. It was the 2 little girls waiting at the door, calling her, Mama. The girl WHO had no choice. The year was 1887. The snow-covered mountains of Montana stretched endlessly beyond the horizon. 18-year-old Clara Bennett stood beside the kitchen window of her father's small farmhouse, watching the winter storm gather. Her hands trembled, not because of the cold, because today, her future was being sold. Her father, Henry Bennett, sat at the wooden table counting money. A thick stack of bills. Money Clara had never seen before. She already knew where it came from. Elias Walker, the mountain man, the stranger, the man she was supposed to marry. You should be grateful, her father said without looking up. Most girls don't get offers like this. Clara swallowed hard. An offer. Henry finally raised his eyes. That man saved this farm. He paid our debts. You'll live better than you ever would here. Clara looked away. No amount of money could change the truth. She wasn't marrying for love. She was being traded. For months, the farm had struggled. Bad harvests, bank loans, drought, everything had gone wrong. Then Elias Walker appeared, a giant man living deep in the mountains. A widower, rich from trapping, timber, and land ownership. He offered enough money to save the Bennett farm. In return, he wanted a wife, Clara. Nobody understood why. He could have chosen anyone. Yet somehow he chose her. And now it was too late. The deal was done. The wagon would arrive before sunset. And she would leave forever. The man everyone feared. The journey into the mountains lasted nearly 6 hours. The deeper they traveled, the more isolated the world became. No towns, no farms, no people, only forests, endless forests. The driver finally stopped beside a large log cabin hidden among pine trees. Clara's stomach twisted. This was it. The cabin looked strong and well built. Smoke drifted from the chimney. A stable stood nearby. Everything appeared peaceful, yet she couldn't stop shaking. The driver unloaded her suitcase. Good luck, miss. Then he left. Just like that, alone. Clara stood in the snow. Suddenly the cabin door opened. A massive figure stepped outside. Elias Walker. He was even bigger than people described. Tall, broad-shouldered, a thick beard covered much of his face. His expression looked serious, almost intimidating. For a moment, neither spoke. Then he nodded. You made it. His voice was deep but calm. Clara expected something cruel, something cold. Instead, he simply picked up her suitcase. Come inside. No smile, no threats, no warmth, just simple words. She followed. The cabin felt surprisingly cozy. A fire crackled in the stone fireplace. Handmade furniture filled the room. Everything was neat, organized, lived in. Then she heard tiny footsteps. Clara turned, and froze. 2 little girls stood in the hallway. Identical, perhaps 6 years old, twin sisters. Their eyes widened. For a second nobody moved. Then one whispered, "Is she really here?" The other gasped, "Mama." Clara's heart nearly stopped. The girls ran forward, throwing their arms around her. And in that moment, everything changed. The twins WHO stole her heart. The girls were named Lily and Rose. Their mother had died 3 years earlier from illness. Since then, Elias had raised them alone. The twins couldn't remember much about their mother. Only fragments, a song, a smile, a bedtime story. When Clara arrived, they immediately attached themselves to her, following her everywhere, asking endless questions, holding her hand, sitting beside her, watching her cook, watching her clean, watching her read. At first Clara felt uncomfortable. She wasn't their mother. She wasn't even a real wife. Yet the girls looked at her as if she were the answer to every prayer they had ever whispered. One evening, Lily climbed into Clara's lap. "Will you stay forever?" The question hit like a knife. Clara didn't know how to answer. Because the truth was, she had secretly planned to leave. Run away. Escape. But looking into Lily's hopeful eyes made that impossible. I don't know, Clara whispered. The little girl hugged her tighter. Please stay. And for the first time since arriving, Clara cried. The secret behind Elias. Weeks passed. Then months. Life in the mountains settled into a rhythm. And Clara began noticing something strange about Elias. He wasn't cold. He wasn't cruel. In fact, he was the opposite. He woke before sunrise every day, worked endlessly, protected the girls, made repairs, hunted food, cut wood, handled every difficult task without complaint. Yet he always kept his distance. Especially from Clara, almost as if he feared her. One snowy evening Clara finally confronted him. Why did you marry me? Elias stared into the fire. For a long moment he said nothing. Then he answered quietly, because my daughters needed someone. Clara's chest tightened. And that's all. Elias looked away. No. She waited. Finally he spoke. I saw you in town 2 years ago. Clara blinked. What? You were helping an old woman carry groceries. You stayed with her for an hour. You were kind. His voice grew softer. My girls deserved kindness. Clara couldn't speak. For the first time she saw the truth. Elias hadn't bought a wife. He'd searched for a mother. A safe person. Someone who could heal the emptiness inside his family. The night of the blizzard. Winter arrived with brutal force. One night a powerful blizzard trapped them inside the cabin. Snow buried the windows. Wind screamed through the mountains. Around midnight Clara woke suddenly. A sound. A cry. Lily. The little girl was burning with fever. Panic spread through the cabin. The nearest doctor lived over 20 miles away. Traveling through the storm was impossible. Or so Clara thought. Elias wrapped himself in heavy fur, grabbed a lantern, and headed for the door. You can't go out there. Clara shouted. He looked back. My daughter needs help. Then he disappeared into the storm. For 12 terrifying hours, nobody knew if he was alive. The twins cried. Clara prayed. And just after sunrise, the door burst open. Elias staggered inside, covered in snow, exhausted. A doctor followed behind him. Lily survived, but Elias collapsed from exposure. For 3 days Clara stayed beside his bed, watching over him, caring for him, and somewhere during those long nights, she realized something. She didn't want to leave anymore. Because she loved the girls. And she was beginning to love their father too. The truth about love. Spring arrived. The mountains bloomed. Snow melted. Life returned. One evening Clara stood beside the river watching the sunset. Elias approached quietly. For several moments neither spoke. Finally he said, "You deserve a choice." Clara turned toward him. "If you want to leave, I'll understand." The words shocked her. All this time she believed she was trapped. But Elias had never intended to keep her prisoner. He simply wanted her happiness, whether that included him or not. Tears filled Clara's eyes. She stepped closer. "You still don't understand, do you?" Elias looked confused. She smiled. "This is my choice." Then she took his hand. For the first time ever. And she didn't let go. The family they built. Years passed. The little cabin became a true home. Laughter replaced loneliness. The twins grew strong and confident. And every night before bed they still hugged Clara tightly. One evening Rose asked a question. "Mama." "Yes." "Were you ever sad when you came here?" Clara smiled softly. "Very sad." Rose looked surprised. "Then why did you stay?" Clara glanced across the room. Elias sat beside the fireplace repairing a toy. The same quiet man. The same gentle heart. Only now she understood him completely. Clara smiled. Because sometimes the place you never wanted to go becomes the place you were meant to be. The twins hugged her. Elias looked up. Their eyes met, and neither needed words, because after all those years, they were finally a family. Sometimes life begins with heartbreak. Sometimes love arrives in unexpected ways. And sometimes the people who need us most are waiting where we least expect to find them. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more emotional mountain romance stories. Heart. Please friends spot my channel. Like, share, comment, subscribe for more stories. Thanks for watching.